Sick of getting blisters? Stop slipping and just be comfortable with Pure Grip Socks Pro. Great fit, great comfort, lots of grip, and an even better price. Available now at puregripsocks.com.
With 2022 coming to an end, I figured it was the perfect time to crown the top 10 football boots of the year. A list that includes not just football boots that came out this year, but football boots that are current models and actively readily available, which means that I have not included any limited edition releases, of which there were a ton of really good ones, but because they're no longer available, what's the point in highlighting them? With this list, of course, being based on my own personal opinions and experiences, I did my best to put them in an order that I thought made sense, but of course, personal preference plays a gigantic role in what you are going to like more than something else. So the order isn't as important as much as the 10 boots that I'm actually naming today. But of course, feel free to leave your own top 10 list down below in the comment section. And finally, leave a like on the video if you enjoy the content, subscribe if you haven't already for more football boot content as we head into 2023. And of course, if you're interested in any of the boots that you see in today's video, you can pick them up below their normal retail prices by way of some exclusive SR4U coupon codes by checking out the links down below. Now, I'll be honest in saying that I was a little bit disappointed with the Adidas X Speedportal 0.1 and honestly the whole Speedportal lineup this year, but that does not detract from the fact that the sole plate and stud pattern featured on this football boot is one of the best currently on the market. The implementation of this carbon fiber by way of the Carbitex insert provides this springy feedback that you really aren't going to find from any other football boot. The upper is on the more structured, kind of rigid, plasticky side, which is not necessarily my cup of tea, but that might be your thing when it comes to a specific feel from a pair of speed boots. And the 0.1 with the lacing system over the Laceless Plus model simply offers better fit, better lockdown, and overall really good responsiveness. Again, not necessarily my personal preference when it comes to speed boots, but if you like that more structured sensation, there is a lot to like about the Speedportal 0.1. 2022 has been a breakout year for the New Balance brand, with seemingly every new boot they released being really good. The New Balance Tekela V4 Pro being no exception. This to me was the laceless football boot of the year for those of you that are into the whole laceless thing, with this knitted upper being soft, flexible, and I think most importantly, very sock-like with a quality and comfortable fit. The lockdown, of course, does suffer from the laceless system like you'll find with just about any laceless boot, but I felt like the lockdown from this was significantly better than any of the Adidas alternatives. And what's also cool about these is they're available in regular as well as wide fit variations. Not to mention, they've done something really cool with these extra studs kind of lining the edges of the sole plate, making this, in my opinion, a great option for a goalkeeper in particular, even though I'm not really a big believer in the whole boots by position thing, but having that extra bite right on the edge of your foot would be very useful. And also the price, $215 versus $275 plus that you'll end up paying for any of the top-end laceless models from the three stripes. So from a value for money and certainly a quality and performance perspective in the laceless category, this simply cannot be beat. The Puma Future Z 1.4 is another super well-rounded football boot that isn't going to break the bank. Retail price on a normal colorway is $200, making them on the lower end as far as pricing is concerned when it comes to top-end football boots, and what they offer from a knitted football boot experience is top-notch. Very sock-like, very comfortable, flexible with that slight padded touch that I think a lot of people are looking for from a knitted upper, and a really unique lacing setup and structure system through the midfoot that make for a fit that doesn't have that squeeze your foot sensation through the midfoot while still allowing for a nice, snug, and secure fit. The sole plate and stud pattern isn't my personal favorite, but it certainly gets the job done. And again, considering how much less expensive they are from more mainstream alternatives from Adidas as well as Nike, it's a really tough football boot to beat for the price. The Nike Tiempo Legend 9 Elite is an extremely well-rounded football boot, and honestly one of the better options if you're after something that offers a little bit of protection. The mostly kangaroo leather upper, backed by memory foam inserts, gives you that nice, soft, almost dampened touch on the ball, where again, if you do get stepped on, they're not paper thin like so many football boot options these days. The central lacing system runs nice and deep and allows for plenty of adjustability, a quality fit for a wide variety of foot types, a low-cut construction which is super traditional, a great heel design that I think offers great lockdown and is super comfortable, and a sole plate and stud pattern that is very Tiempo, but also makes the construction of this football boot a lot lighter than you might expect something in the traditional category to feel on feet. For $230, it's also on the lower end as far as price point is concerned compared to what you're going to find from other options out there. And overall, if you're a fan of leather football boots, there is a lot to like about the Nike Tiempo, kind of having the perfect blend of classic feel and modern technology. With my next pick being one that I know a lot of people will not be on board with, the made in Japan Mizuno Morelia 2, a classic model that is significantly more modern than it might appear. It's also very expensive at $280, but the made in Japan build quality of this football boot is simply unmatched. The kangaroo leather across the entire upper is the best on the market, bar none. The shape of this football boot, despite its old school look, is extremely modern and honestly just one of the most comfortable football boots on the market. For me personally, this is the most comfortable boot on my feet specifically. And the sole plate design, again, might not be for everybody. It's definitely not the most aggressive FG stud pattern out there, but the plastic used makes these lighter than most speed boots that are currently available. If you want the best of the best in terms of a leather football boot experience, this is it. Look no further. And yes, there's an argument to be made that you could pick a Copa Mundial in place of a Morelia 2 for effectively half the price, and classic Copas are great, but in my opinion, these legitimately are that much better. And in terms of giving you that modern fit and shape, there really is no comparison. I hate to say it because of how expensive they are, but it really is one of those boots that you have to try for yourself to truly understand why I rate them so highly. The Morelia Neo series has more or less carried the entire Mizuno football division for the better part of the last 10 years, so it shouldn't be much of a surprise that I have one of their current models on this top 10 list in the form of the made in Japan Mizuno Morelia Neo 3, the non-beta version for a couple different reasons, but the beta model is also fantastic. Reason number one, these are less expensive by about $30. They're still pushing $300, so obviously very expensive. Number two, it replaces the one-piece construction with the central portion being filled in with that elasticated knit. In place of that is a U-throat construction and a standalone tongue, kind of reminiscent of what the first two generations of Morelia Neo had. I think this allows for better adjustability and honestly just a more comfortable fit with the laces tied tight, and it also replaces that textile material through the midfoot for this really thin synthetic leather that I think is just softer and again more comfortable on your feet and also offering a better feel on the ball. It blends nicer with the kangaroo leather in the forefoot and toe box area. But like I talked about with the previous Morelia, the quality of the leather is top notch. The build quality from made in Japan Mizuno is simply unparalleled by any other brand. You legitimately get what you pay for. And honestly, if you're looking for a pair of speed boots that incorporate some form of kangaroo leather, it does not get better than this. Perhaps the biggest surprise of 2022 was the New Balance Furon V7 Pro, their 7th generation of speed boot that is easily and by far their best yet. You could make an argument that this is the best speed boot on the market depending on what you're looking for, and that's not something that I think many people would expect me to say about a football boot from NB, but like I said, 2022 has been their year. For $215, they are less expensive than all of the more popular speed boot alternatives. They also are incredibly comfortable. This knit-based synthetic material is soft, flexible, super thin on the ball, giving you that barefoot feel, but easily just the most sock-like on your feet with this really unique off-centered lacing system that makes for a great touch on the ball. Striking feels awesome because there are no laces in the way, but it doesn't sacrifice the quality of the fit, something that is really tricky to do with a lacing system pushed this far to the outside. Also, because it's New Balance, you can get it in regular as well as wide fit, making this a great option for any type of foot type, which we don't typically see in the speed category. And while the sole plate and stud pattern did not go over any revisions from the 6th generation of Furon, it's still super lightweight and really aggressive, with admittedly kind of a Mercurial-esque knockoff with these chevron bladed studs. Nonetheless, the traction is top notch, and also from a weight standpoint, it is currently the lightest speed boot on the market. So again, for $215, a bunch of unique offerings, a great overall experience, incredible performance, and honestly, just an amazing pair of football boots. The made in Japan Mizuno Alpha is a really unique football boot from the perspective that it's a high-end, high-tech speed boot that prioritizes comfort over just about everything else, but still does everything else extremely well. At $320, it is borderline overpriced. I definitely think that you can get a football boot that is objectively as good, if not better, for less money. However, are any of them going to be as comfortable or fit as well as the Alpha? That's up for debate, and I guess specific to your feet. With that said, this synthetic upper feels incredible, super raw on the ball with just that little bit of padding from this memory foam cage to take the edge off. The nice deep central lacing system and standard tongue I think makes for an incredible fit as well as lockdown. It has one of the best heel liners on the market, incredibly comfortable. The build quality, being that it is a made in Japan product, is unbelievable as well, with the sole plate and stud pattern kind of just being a variation of what's on offer from the Morelia Neo series. Certainly nothing groundbreaking, but honestly something that also feels really good and moves quite naturally with your feet. It's one of those speed boots that is way more comfortable than I think you would expect this style of football boot to be, and for that reason and that reason alone, I rank it very highly. The Nike Phantom GX Elite is a very late entry on this top 10 list. However, I think very well deserving of being on it, in that from an experience standpoint, this is one of the most unique football boots currently on the market. And I realize as I'm making this video, they're still sold out. More colorways will definitely be coming soon, but grip knit is not a joke. It provides this really unique, sticky without being overly grippy on the ball sensation that I think offers a very positive experience. Granted, it does take some getting used to, but in terms of shooting in particular, generating that spin on the ball that much more easily is extremely noticeable. And even when controlling the ball and dribbling, that extra grip is unlike anything else. The only thing that comes close would be an Adidas Predator Edge. However, those boots are just really stiff and honestly not very comfortable. Nowhere near the same experience as what you're going to get from the Phantom GX. The fit is great. The touch is sock-like with having that little bit of padding to it. I don't think they're overly thin, which I actually really like. They're lighter than the Phantom GT2 that they replace, and the sole plate and stud pattern is the nice middle ground between the Tiempo series and the Mercurial series, which I kind of think is what the Phantom GX represents. It's a really unique experience, a really well-rounded product, and again, I think that's what people are looking for from a modern-day football boot. Technology that is actually functional, and you get that with this new grip knit tech. With the one spot, and this was a pretty easy choice for me, being taken up by the Nike Zoom Mercurial series. I have the Superfly 9 Elite here as an example, but you could just as easily pick the Vapor 15. Same boot with or without the collar, take your pick there. But to me, this is a football boot with the introduction of Air Zoom tech through this 3/4 length zoom unit underneath your foot, made for one of the most unique and positive experiences I've ever had with a pair of football boots. While it's kind of touted as a performance enhancer, I don't necessarily think that they are going to make you any quicker, but I think the feel underfoot and the comfort that it provides is truly unlike anything else we've ever had, and a very, very positive experience. Something that if I had the option to put it in every football boot I would wear moving forward, I think I would make that choice. I like it that much. It's a unique construction that allowed them to actually shave weight while still implementing this zoom unit, which is really impressive. The new stud pattern is as aggressive as you'd expect a top-end Mercurial to provide, and the Vaporposit Plus material, while admittedly not that different from the previous generation of Mercs, still offers a really positive touch on the ball. Super raw, very barefoot, but I think most importantly, they nailed the shape. The fit is fantastic, and the lockdown and responsiveness is to the standard that we expect from a pair of top-end Mercurials, all with a price tag that did not increase over the last several years, unlike so many other football boots that came out in 2022. If you are on the market for one of the most technologically advanced, technologically impressive, and objectively good football boots in the speed category, look no further than the Nike Mercurial.